of Pennsylvania. Prior to this role, he served as counsel at Hogan Lovells and was an associate there at the firm. He also worked at Drinker, Biddle, and Reith and was a law clerk for the Honorable Franklin Van Antwerpen in the U.S. Court of Appeals, Third Circuit. A 1997 graduate of Church Farm School, he earned a BA in Political Science from St. Joseph's University and his JD from New York University School of Law. Mr. Loney will be one of 2 alumni who receive the Alumni Achievement Award tomorrow evening. Let's give a warm Church Farm School welcome to Mr. Loney.
Testing, is that working? Awesome. All right, step 1 clear. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for having me here. I love any chance to talk with this community. It's also a good way to make sure my kid sits down and listens to me for 5 minutes. And I know that you all are constantly asked to sit and listen to adults. They come and talk to you about the good old days. They tell you how much you should appreciate this place and this opportunity. They give you a bunch of advice. And I might do a little bit of that, but I know the human brain being what it is, specifically the teenage male human brain, I would not blame you if you don't retain a lot of what the adults stand up here and say all the time. So I'm going to try to boil it down to just one good piece of advice, something I think I've learned that maybe some of you can take with you. Before I do that though, I will spend a little bit of time talking about my background so that you know where the advice is coming from, because I sat in those chairs, possibly literally those chairs. I think they were ordered my senior year in 1997. So I grew up in Collins, the town bordering Southwest Philadelphia, in the shadows of the airport. It smells great if you've ever been there. And when I was growing up, it was a pretty economically depressed place, failing school district, and we lost my father at a very young age due to addiction. Not before though, he got himself cleaned up. Went into recovery when I was a kid, was clean and sober, and then started cleaning the toilets and taking out the trash at the rehab facility he went to so that he could earn some extra money and go to college. And at the age of 40, he was the first person in our family to graduate college. He got that degree, went back to the same rehab center, less frequently cleaned the toilets, and started as an addiction counselor so that he could kind of pay it forward. Did that for a few years, but it was that whole time he had no idea his liver was deteriorating from a lifetime of abuse. So 6 years after his last drink, he died of liver failure. He was 45. I was 10. I do remember people reaching out at that time to tell me a lot about how my father could help them. My father was helping them find a different path at a time when the other people in their lives had given up on them. So I started learning a couple of things, right, from his short life. I learned the value of an education. I saw hard work paying off under the most difficult circumstances. And I learned something about serving other people, paying it forward, including the most vulnerable people who everybody else had given up on. Those lessons were rattling around somewhere, but I was too bitter to focus on that. I was still in the crappy neighborhood, still in the crappy school system. By then my mother was disabled, so we were in Section 8 housing and surviving on public assistance, and I kind of felt like the world was against us. So I gave up, I started acting up, and I was still a little kid. I was like 7th grade at this point. But I got really lucky in a couple of ways. One was I had a mother who wasn't going to take the nonsense. Despite all the challenges, she just wasn't going to tolerate my acting up. And then the other was she found this place, where there were a bunch of other adults who were not going to tolerate my acting up. They were going to care for me in this environment and make sure I got an education for almost no cost. So when I came here, I learned some more about serving others. And in the classroom, I learned about a lot of things, but including the civil rights movement and the role that lawyers played in that movement. So it was decided early on, I'm going to be a civil rights leader. I'm going to be a civil rights lawyer. I'm going to right the wrongs of the world through a law degree. So I went to St. Joe's, I went to NYU Law School, did well enough to get a clerkship with a federal judge. And that is the kind of job that opens a lot of doors. So I was able to snag a job at a giant law firm that pays pretty well. Those places tend to be a little soulless. But I figured at the time, let me do this for a couple of years, put some distance between me and poverty before going back to that dream of being a civil rights lawyer, which doesn't pay as well usually. I worked at 2 firms over a period of 15 years. I did that much longer than I thought I would. I liked it more than I thought I would. And in part it's because I found some places that had a little bit of a soul. I found law firms that, even though my day job for the most part was multi-million-dollar lawsuits between the ultra-rich, the law firms also had citizenship programs. They also allowed their lawyers to spend a bunch of time and get paid to do pro bono work. So I was able to do work for people experiencing homelessness and addiction. And I was able to stay connected to civil rights work. I did cases with organizations like the ACLU during all 15 years that I was in law firms. I eventually made partner at one of the biggest law firms in the world, but I had that dream of being a civil rights lawyer. So while I was working with the ACLU on some side cases, this leadership position opened up and I jumped on it about 4 years ago. I said I was going to spend a little bit of time on the history. That was a lot of time. But I'm just kind of looking back at the experience at Church Farm. Obviously, I'm very thankful of what this school did to prepare me for all of the above. But I also have to recognize, and thinking about what advice to give you all, that there are some things that Church Farm School could not have prepared me for. And that had a lot to do with sort of where I was coming from and where I wanted to end up. You know, by my 20s, I was trying to navigate the halls of power, situations that were completely foreign to me. And try as you might at Church Farm School, you don't really know what that's like until you're in it. And meanwhile, I'm looking at other NYU law graduates who just seem to know how to talk to judges and know how to talk to CEOs, because that's what, you know, that's who was at their parents' cocktail parties. But a lot of us don't have that here. So it took me a while to catch up, and that kind of brings me to the little nugget of advice that you may or may not take with you. And that is, I encourage you to engage and put yourself in rooms and situations with people that are doing the thing you want to do. So much of your success will come from those moments when you are just in proximity with and absorbing what it looks like to succeed in your chosen field. And a lot of people sort of have that laid out for them. It's there, they're already engaged with the world they want to be in when they're adults. But if you're someone who does not have that advantage, if you're someone who people in power haven't known since birth, you have to find ways to make sure they will know you. And you know, starting out, I was very cynical when I went to college and law school, and even my early years as a lawyer. I thought, you know, it's supposed to be enough if you get good grades, you do the things you're supposed to do. Somebody will notice that and put me on the U.S. Supreme Court someday. And I looked at a lot of the other, my classmates who were doing things like making sure they go up and talk to the professor, or doing the whole networking thing, and I looked at it with a lot of cynicism and like, look at them, try hard, doing too much, that's for them, that's not for me. And that was really short-sighted, and I wish I would have realized that a lot sooner, because almost every step forward I've taken has come not just from like doing well with my work that's assigned to me, but it came from some example of like putting myself out there, of applying for the thing I wasn't sure I was going to get, and often didn't get, but at least people started to know who I was. Talking to somebody who knew more than I did. It really doesn't take that much. It can seem like a lot when you see those people who are they look like a fish in water talking to CEOs and the like, and it might seem like a lot, but once you start rolling, it doesn't take that much. Once you reach out to people who do the thing you want to do, you will find that a lot of them want to help you. A lot of them will see something in you. A lot of them, not all of them, some of these conversations go nowhere, and that's fine. A low batting average, you just need one hit. You know, people will be intrigued by your background and will want to give you that boost. So that's the advice, reach out to me, reach out to the alumni network. I know that Ms. McDermott makes that available from day one, even when you're here. Get to know your professors in the classes in your chosen field. Take people up on those casual offers to like introduce you to somebody who does something that sounds like what you want to do in your life. It's gonna feel awkward at first until it doesn't. Because it's not just for them, it's also for you. It was also for me, and it works. So that's it, thank you. I think somebody's gonna tell me where to get this.